Will Minkah Fitzpatrick be a problem for the Miami Dolphins in 2025? Or is he the piece they were missing all along? After years of watching this defense try to find that one dependable voice at the back end, the Dolphins finally brought someone home. And not just anyone. They brought Minka back. This is Dolphins Unleashed, and I'm here to break down exactly why this reunion could be either a revival or a regret. Minkah Fitzpatrick, a name Dolphins fans know well, drafted in the first round by Miami back in 2018, played just over a season here, then shipped off to Pittsburgh. Now in 2025, he's back in aqua and orange, and fans are split. Some are fired up, others not so sure. Bleacher Report recently listed one potential bust for every NFL team in the upcoming season. And for the Dolphins, their pick was Minkah Fitzpatrick. The article argued that although Minka is still a respected name, five-time Pro Bowler, full 17-game starter last season, his production has slipped. Just one interception over the last two seasons, and a 127.6 passer rating allowed in coverage in 2024. But here's the thing. Before we dive deeper into this Dolphins debate, make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and smash that bell icon so you never miss breaking Dolphins news. This season's going to be wild, and we've got you covered daily. Now look, there's no denying Minka had a rough year in coverage last season. But let's talk context. The Dolphins aren't expecting an all-pro. They're not looking at Minka and saying, save our defense. They just need a solid, reliable veteran in a safety group that was shaky at best last year. If he plays at even 80% of his prime Steelers form, that's already a massive upgrade. This isn't about a bust. This is about fit, and Minka knows this organization, this city, and the pressure. His return might not lead to headlines, but it could lead to stability in a defense that badly needs it. So what do you think? Dolphins Nation? Is Minkah Fitzpatrick going to prove the doubters wrong? Or did Miami take a risk that could bite them? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you believe in Minka, spam MF down below to show him some love. This is Dolphins Unleashed, and we're just getting started. When you look at what the Dolphins needed heading into 2025, one thing stood out. The safety room had to be rebuilt from the ground up. And Minkah Fitzpatrick? He might be the exact piece Miami was missing. Let's be real for a moment. The 2024 versions of Javon Holland and Jordan Poyer were shadows of what Miami needed on the back end. Holland, once considered a rising star, just couldn't hold his ground anymore. The flashes we saw early in his career completely faded. By every meaningful stat, Holland was below average in 2024. Out of 65 qualifying safeties in pass coverage and run defense, Holland ranked in the bottom half across the board. 45th in QB rating allowed, 37th in forced incompletions, and most telling, he was among the bottom 15 in missed tackle percentage. Tackling, the one non-negotiable for any safety, became his biggest liability. He couldn't finish plays, and it cost Miami repeatedly. Now let's talk about Jordan Poyer. Yes, he was a little more reliable when it came to tackling, ranked inside the top 20 in missed tackle rate. But in coverage, he got cooked. His passer rating allowed was 129.7, and opposing quarterbacks completed over 73% of throws when targeting him. That's simply not good enough in a league full of elite tight ends and slot receivers. One game that stuck with every Dolphins fan was that nightmare against the Cardinals. Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. absolutely torched Poyer. It felt like a career-ending moment, and based on how things have gone since, maybe it was. So when you combine Holland's missed tackles and Poyer's busted coverage, it was clear. Miami had no choice but to blow it up and start over. And that's exactly what they did. Of all the safeties from last year, only Elijah Campbell remains, and he's primarily a special teams weapon, not a defensive centerpiece. Patrick McMorris is technically still around too, but he never really saw the field. What that tells you is simple. The Dolphins knew the safety room was broken, and they went out and replaced every key piece. Minkah Fitzpatrick steps into a brand new environment with no ghosts of last season. no confusion about his role, and a ton of motivation to prove he's still elite. And for the first time in a long time, the Dolphins safety group doesn't feel like a liability. It feels like it might finally be a strength. If there's one thing Minkah Fitzpatrick guarantees this Dolphins defense in 2025, it's stability. That's not a guess. It's backed by years of consistency. In a secondary that's dealt with nonstop injuries and rotating doors at key positions, Minka stands out as a guy who's always available, always accountable, and always ready to hit. Over the past 5 seasons, he's played in nearly every game, only missing real time in 2023. That kind of reliability is rare in today's NFL, and Miami needs it badly. But it's not just his presence. It's what he does when he's on the field that sets him apart. Let's go back to last year. Miami's safety group, especially Javon Holland, struggled massively in tackling. Missed tackles were drive killers, momentum shifters, and in some games, season-defining failures. That's exactly where Minka elevates this unit. For 3 straight years, Fitzpatrick has posted a missed tackle rate under 10%. That's top tier, full stop. He ranks as one of the top 20 tackling safeties in the entire NFL, not just on paper, but on film. When he steps up in the box or meets a ball carrier in the open field, he finishes the play. No second chances, no blown tackles, no highlight reels for the opponent. This is a guy who saves yards, prevents explosions, brings fear to receivers who dare cross the middle. That's not hype. That's what the Dolphins were missing last season. Now let's not pretend Minka was flawless in 2024. Yes, his coverage was a problem last year. He allowed a higher completion percentage and QB rating than even Jordan Poyer. Gave up 5 touchdowns. And no one's ignoring that. Not the coaches, not the fans, and definitely not Fitzpatrick himself. But here's the bigger picture. That was, without question, the worst coverage year of his career. It was an outlier, not a pattern. Look at the full resume. Year after year, Minka's been one of the most complete safeties in the league. Physical, smart, versatile. What happened last season wasn't the norm. It was the exception. And if history is any indication, that version of Minka isn't coming to Miami. The version Miami's getting is hungry, healthy, and back in a city that drafted him, looking to prove that he's still a force on the back end. Let's settle this right now. 2024 was Minkah Fitzpatrick's worst season, by far. But unless you truly believe he's completely cooked, there's no reason to think that's the new normal. Before last season, the numbers told a very different story. In both 2022 and 2023, Minka was one of the most reliable safeties in football. He allowed a completion percentage under 70%, gave up just 1 touchdown over 2 seasons. And in 2022, his numbers were flat out elite. 6 interceptions, 4 pass breakups, 72.3 passer rating allowed. Named one of the top 3 safeties in the NFL. That version of Minka wasn't just good. He was a game changer. And while he might not fully return to that level in 2025, you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone in the league who doesn't believe he can still play at a very high level. Here's what makes this even more exciting for Miami fans. Minka's entering a defense led by Anthony Weaver, a guy who brings that Baltimore Ravens style system, the kind that thrives on versatile, aggressive defensive backs. You're not locked into one position. You're moved around like a chess piece. And that's where Minka can shine. Look at how the Ravens use Kyle Hamilton, lining up in the box, dropping deep, covering the slot, doing a bit of everything. That's the exact kind of hybrid role Minka fits into. He's not just a free safety anymore. He's a weapon. And with Miami's emphasis on disguising coverages and mixing up looks, Fitzpatrick's IQ, experience, and versatility could turn him into one of the most important players on this defense, even if the stats don't scream all-pro. So no, Minkah Fitzpatrick is not the biggest bust candidate on this Dolphins roster. Not even close. He's a veteran presence, a proven tackler, and a perfect fit in a system designed to unleash his full skill set. Miami didn't just bring him back for nostalgia. They brought him back because this time, they know exactly how to use him. Let's wrap this up with one simple truth. Minkah Fitzpatrick fits this defense perfectly. He's versatile. He's instinctive. He's smart. And he's walking into a scheme under Anthony Weaver that's tailor-made for players like him. Defenders who don't just fill a role. They float between them. Weaver's system is built on disguise, flexibility, and controlled chaos. And Minka thrives in that environment. If there's ever been a time to bet on a bounce-back year, it's right now. Honestly, it's hard to see it. This safety room has gone from a weakness to possibly one of the most competitive groups on the entire Dolphins roster. Let's break it down. Minkah Fitzpatrick is the presumed starter and tone setter. Ashton Davis from the Jets and Ifeatu Melifonwu from the Lions were both signed in free agency. Dante Trader Jr., a day 3 rookie, and Patrick McMorris, a 2024 draft pick, bring upside. Elijah Campbell returns as a proven special teams contributor. John Saunders Jr., an underrated UDFA, is turning heads. That's 7 guys competing for what will likely be 5 roster spots. And that's the kind of pressure that creates a battle-tested, NFL-ready group. If Minka holds down the deep role, the key becomes this. Can either Davis or Melifonwu lock down the strong safety spot? Ashton Davis showed promise last year with the Jets. An elite missed tackle rate under 10% and a QB rating allowed of 73.7. He's more of a hybrid defender. Strong enough to play in the box. Fast enough to cover tight ends. Melifonwu, on the other hand, has always leaned more toward coverage, but he's never had a full season to show it consistently. So if just one of those 2 guys steps up, the Dolphins are in great shape. You've got your starter in Minka. You've got real competition behind him. And for once, you've got options. If things click, this could go from one of Miami's most uncertain position groups to one of the most productive. And it all starts with Minkah Fitzpatrick returning to where it began, but with a chip on his shoulder, a new scheme, and the experience to make it all count. This safety unit? It's deep, dangerous, and finally ready to be a strength again.